Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Sully Squad. We got a lot to get into tonight. We got special guest Rob Maaddi, writer and host of Faith on the Field, hopping on with us. We're going to get into a lot of stuff there. We also have our Phillies ticket giveaway coming up tonight. So anybody out there that entered the contest, make sure you check it out. We'll be spinning the wheel. Diego's going to be like a 33-year-old male version of Vanna White. Yeah. I was gonna say I don't know what happened to Vanna White. You changed a little bit there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you got Sully as Pat Sajak.
We're gonna get right into it here. We got our usual cast minus my man Fuji. Mike Fuji's down working the Phillies game. So I got, of course, myself, Joe Sullivan. I got my man, Mr. Kilrain in the middle, Sean Kilrain. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Not much, man. Chilling. How about you?
All right. And I got my man, Mr. 6 for 6, Diego the Hammer Bianchi on the far right. What's up, dog?
So, dude, I'm gonna do my best Fuji impression since you ain't here. We're rocking, we're going, we're killing this show. Sully Squad coming at you. Let's go!
Hell yeah! All right. Well, hey, man, somebody's got to bring the energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if it's just us, I mean, Mike's not here to do it, so someone had to do it.
All right. So, all right. Well, while we're waiting for Rob to get on here, what do you want to get into first? First, I got a comment here. I got my man Adam Glenn. What's up, guys? What's up, Adam?
How you doing?
Thanks for checking us out, bro. So, you know what? How about if we get into the big news for the Philadelphia 76ers? Since we've been on last, because we haven't been on in a couple weeks, they hired a coach. Brand new era. It's now the Nick Nurse era. Championship level coach, won the championship in 2019 with Kawhi Leonard and them guys. I'm a big fan of the hire. You know what? I'll ask you guys. Sean, first off, what's your first impression of Nick Nurse?
No nonsense, man. He's going to get into the guys when they're slacking, like JoJo sometimes and other players, and get on them when it need to be, So I'm looking forward to it, Out with the doc, in with the nurse.
Yeah, hey, I hear you. How about you, Diego? What was your first impression of Nick Nurse?
I usually feel pretty good when we hire a new coach. Like even Nick Sirianni, everybody was down on him. I loved it. We got a new coach. Same with Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is a great X-to-O coach. It doesn't sound like he wants James Harden back, which could be a plus in getting that ball moving instead of it just getting James Harden stopping for the first 20 seconds in the shot clock. So, I mean, I look forward to seeing what he does. I hope we can add a little bit more to this roster because I think even Nick Nurse isn't going to win with this roster. You know what I mean? We're going to have to improve in a couple spots to win. So that'll be more interesting to see what we do with the rest of the offseason if we make some moves going into the next season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, to touch on that, I mean, if Harden doesn't come back, now, of course, Nick Nurse did the politically correct answer where he said, well, hey, James Harden's a great player, But there's a report out there that says that Van Leet could be a possibility. They probably would have to Morey would have to get creative because if Harden leaves, I believe we only have about $12 million in cap space to sign a guy, and Van Leet's going to make more money than that. So bottom line is Morey may have to get a little creative, but I got to keep it real, man. I would love to see Van Leet here. What's your thoughts on Van Leet?
I like it. Bring it. It's a player that knows what Nick Nurse wants out of you. At first he wasn't a fan of Nick Nurse, but as the years went on, he fell into the system of Nick Nurse, and he said he's a hell of a coach, and you guys are gonna look forward to having him as a coach. So I'm looking forward to it. He's going to bring the best out of Maxey too, which I'm really looking forward to. Like me, you, and Diego, I think he's going to make them have better defense. What are your thoughts?
Man,
what about
him playing better defense,
Well, he's a better defender than James Harden.
Yeah,
I'll
true.
say that confidently. He reminds me a little bit of Jalen Brunson, which I like. I like how Jalen Brunson can run the point, gets everybody involved. He doesn't have to be for the number one guy. You know, he was all right letting Julius Randle get his, and he was still playing at an all-star level. And he did the same thing with Luka over in Dallas when he would come in off the bench. So I would love to have Fred VanVleet. I think he'd be a great addition. Him and JoJo would be great in the pick and roll. Maybe not as great as James Harden and JoJo were, but Embiid's so good that it's good. He makes any point guard's job easy. You can run that pick and roll with any point guard. All you have to do is get the ball over to Embiid.
Yeah.
So I feel like I would love him way more than James Harden. But how do you make that for him? What do you do? What move do you make to make enough cash to sign a guy like that? You got to move Tobias?
You probably you probably would have to move Tobias for a few role players that make lesser money. You know, there'd be you know, hey, you know how, you know, I mean, the one thing about Morey, you could say a lot of things about Morey, but he is creative in some of his trades. I mean, if you look back to some of those Houston trades, I mean, he made like 4, 5, 16 trades. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he may be able to find a way to move it around. Now here's one right here. Miko Spencer with the comment. He says, Siakam is rumored to want out of Toronto. He has one more year left. Thoughts? He demands $30 million a year this year, 34 last year. See, I love Siakam, but I don't think you could get Siakam without giving up a Maxey. Like, you know, that would be something where the only way you can make a move like that is you'd have to give up like Maxey, Tobias, maybe a pick or two, and maybe you get back like VanVleet and Siakam or something like that. You know what I mean?
Cool with that. I'm so cool with that.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I love Maxey, but I may consider that myself because Siakam and Embiid, first off, Siakam's a very good defensive player too. So if you put Siakam, you know, one of the problems the Sixers have had, you know, especially versus teams like Boston, is like switching. Like Diego, like we were talking about it last week, like there was times where Jaylen Brown or Tatum would wind up matched up against Maxey. I mean, dude, even if Maxey works all summer on defense, he ain't going to be able to guard them.
No, he's not.
Other
teams take advantage of Maxey when it like think about that Boston series. How many times did Maxey switch on to Jason Tatum? Then we had one-on-one with Jason Tatum. Like we need a bigger guy who can sit up there. Like Fred VanVleet's a good enough defender. If you added a guy like Siakam or something like that, and they were the two guys switching on and off guard to a forward, I feel a lot more confident VanVleet having to cover the other side of that than Maxey.
Yeah. Now the one thing, if you did get VanVleet and you played him with Maxey, you'd be awfully small at the guard position because I think VanVleet's only like 6'1", 6'2". Maxey's only like what 6'2", 6'3". So you'd be awfully small. But
it's not like Harden played big.
What's that?
It's not like Harden played big. You know, it's not like Harden played like he was 6 to guard. He played like a pretty small guard himself.
No, I know. That's what I was saying. I was kind of agreeing with you. Like as far as I don't think it would necessarily be a you know, a terrible thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and also Nick Nurse, you know, one of his strengths is that he, you know, switches up his defense. Like he plays some defense. He plays some box and one. I mean, if you remember that 2019 series against Steph Curry, like Toronto had Steph Curry in like a box and one. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's one of Nick Nurse's strengths. I got a comment here. Vegas Rob in the house. He said, "What's up, guys? Vegas Rob in the house. What's up, Rob? How you doing? Thanks for checking us out." I know. If I was going to say, I don't think Rob entered. If Rob entered the Phillies ticket giveaway, he'd have a pretty long commute. You know,
he'd be resale.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right?
Amtrak.
Hey, you know what? Hey, is all we're doing is giving them away. You can do whatever you want with them, Jones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't care.
SeatGeek, do whatever you want, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, at least the Phillies, you know, for as much as they've been struggling, you know, let's hope that the Schwarber bomb's starting to heat up. You know, what do you have? 2 bombs yesterday?
Yeah. And the kid Nick Ellis too. I mean, I guess we'll touch later on it, but yeah, that kid's, since he's been called up, he's played all 3 games, you know, but
yeah. But, you know, getting back to the Sixers here real quick, like now, we talked a lot about Tyrese Maxey, and one of the main big things, one of the big reasons that Tyrese has really progressed was Sam Cassell. Did you guys see Sam Cassell took a job with Boston last night?
Yeah, I sent that to you. I can't believe it, man. But I mean, there's an article that says where did the Sixers go from here as a team, like you said, with him going to Boston.
Well, so. I think, I mean, Nick Nurse has been a coach in this league for I'm sure Nick Nurse has his own guys he's going to bring over. I mean, he knows the league, so I'm sure he has his own guys, just like Glenn Rivers had his own guys, which was like, Sam Cassell and the guy I'm drawing a blank. Who was the coach from Sacramento a few years ago? Yeager, I think his name was Yeager, Dave Yeager.
Mike Yeager?
Yeah, I think yeah. So he was a pretty good assistant. Got a comment here, Chris Rapizzi. What's up, boys? What's up, Chris? How you doing?
What's up, Chris?
Here's our man Mike Laura. You can check Mike out on Thursday nights on the Locker Room, and also on Sunday mornings on the EOP network with Pat Bernard and PM in the AM.
What's up,
and then Chris Rapizzi here with another comment. He says, "So is Harris back next year?" Well,
I want to say no.
I agree with you. I think he's not going to be back. And just like we touched base on, I think they're going to look at trade options, because I think Nick Nurse kind of wants to, like Diego touched base on, like kind of build his own team, get a Vanderleet or whatever, like some kind of guys that are familiar with him, so these players can actually bring what they know and how to do it for Nick Nurse. I'm all for getting rid of – trade Tobias Harris, because the money he makes is ridiculous. And with that kind of money, you should play every night hard, in and out. But you don't know what to expect.
We should call Toronto and be like, we'll give you all our team besides Embiid for all your team, and you can keep one of your guys.
Deal. Spin the wheel.
OG, bring him. Barnes.
Yeah.
We'd be fucking stacked.
I'll tell you what, bro. If you put, all kidding aside, if you put Embiid on the Raptors, they would be a championship level team. So you're right. Imagine with Barnes, OG, Siakam.
Four guys I said around Embiid. Put all them four guys: Siakam, OG, Van Fleet, and Scotty Barnes, and Embiid. That's your five. That's the best defensive team in the whole entire league.
I know.
I love that kid from that they drafted out of Florida State. I was telling Joey, I forget the kid's name. Scotty, is that Barnes?
Yeah,
the kid from Florida State. Dude,
I don't remember where he went. I just know he's good.
The kid's good. He got drafted out of Florida State, is on Raptors, man. He's a hustler, man. He's what we would like to have.
Yeah, he went,
here's Mike.
Florida State.
What's that, Diego?
He went to Florida State.
All right, yeah, Sean was right. Here's Mike Lauro. He was saying all year to trade Embiid. He's just starting early. And then Miko Spencer here. Nick Nurse can win games just by late in game management. That's 4/5 more games than Rivers. That could have been the 1 seed this year. Yeah, and listen, I'm a Nick Nurse fan. Okay, yeah. I'm a Nick Nurse fan. One of the knocks on Nick Nurse though is that he plays his starters a ton of minutes all year.
Yes. They say,
and some of the Toronto reporters were saying that like some of those guys were kind of out of gas at like the end of the year, like because he played and that was one of the criticisms of Glenn since we lost, I'll call him Glenn Rivers. That was one of the criticisms of Glenn Rivers is that he didn't play a lot of the young guys. So here's hoping that Nick Nurse will play some of the young guys in the regular season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you think that B gets a lot more rest this year with Nick Nurse? How he kind of did with Kawhi? He kind of protected Kawhi a little bit.
I think he's still right. Like gives him minutes. You know,
I mean,
definitely minutes, but do you give him MVP number games, or do you try to drop him back to like 65?
that's a good question. I mean,
60,
yeah,
60
Joe.
games out of 82. He gets 22 games off. If you can win about 55 of them games, you play with Embiid. 50 games, you play with Embiid.
well, I'll tell you what, the fact that the Heat are an 8 seed and made the finals, and then the fact that the Lakers were a 7 seed and made the Western Conference Finals, to me, the regular season in the NBA isn't quite as important as it used to be. So,
Yeah, true.
and Embiid, Embiid got his MVP trophy. Well, I didn't get to go to Kottman and Frankfurt on that, John. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I could care less about this guy's MVP.
True.
Here, you know what? And actually, based off of that, Harden and also Tobias aren't the only decisions this team has to make. I mean, I was reading a couple articles today. Paul teams are going to throw some money at Paul Reed, and
That's what scares me, man. He won't fall.
Yeah,
exactly. I'd love to have him back.
What'd you say, Diego?
Is he a free agent right now?
He's going to be a free agent. Him and Jalen McDaniels, basically our whole bench. I mean, George Niang. The only guy that already came back, Diego, is my man, Daniel House.
Yeah. Yes, they re-signed him.
No one in this league was giving that guy $4 million.
Except for Joe Sullivan. Joe Sullivan
was giving him $40 million max deal.
No, he get writing on that article, man. Write another article.
Championship.
We need to write another article.
You know, it was funny when the Sixers won that Game 5 in Boston, and he actually played halfway decent. Remember, we had Sean Bernard on, and I was like, man, I wrote this article before the year. I said, my man Daniel House. I was like, he's going to do something, and I was like, and then we were at the game. He was like the last guy off the bench, dude. And I so wanted to be right. And then he played good in Game 5. And I listened to 97.5, like the Kincaid show in the morning. And they were like, oh, Daniel House gave him good numbers or good minutes. I was like, yes, finally. And then he played like dog shit in Game 6. And I was like, well,
he was lost.
Never mind.
Well, the next game, I think the next game he put up like 2 quick threes, and then Doc was like, all right, dude, that last game got to your head. Hold on, we didn't see him again for the next 2 games.
Yeah,
it was a mirage.
Here, and he got another guy saying the trade Embiid. Adam Glenn said it's time to trade Embiid. I hear you. I mean,
how are you going to trade Embiid? How are you going to trade Embiid when you know? All right, we destroyed Embiid after that series, which granted, he earned it.
Mm-hmm.
But when are we going to look at this roster and go, did we ever give Embiid a real chance to win? Did we ever give him a Jokic type roster? Because I was watching that game yesterday, and I'm like, if we got the same guys Jokic got around him, we're winning the championship. Because we didn't have a Jamal Murray game in and game out. We didn't have a Michael Porter Jr. game in and game out. We didn't have guys that could literally – they have 2 or 3 guys. Aaron Gordon took that first game over. He had like 8 of their first 12 points. He had like 18 points, really silently had a major impact. Miami has them same kind of players. Boston had them same kind of players. We literally had our starting 5 and then nobody else besides Harden, Embiid, and Maxey every now and then to have a big game. You know what I mean? And if all them 3 guys are off, there's no one else to help Embiid.
Well, and the bottom line is that, I mean, it's already been pretty reported that like he's untouchable. Like they're not going to trade him. I mean, let's keep it real. Like, there's a lot of butts in those seats because of Joel Embiid. I mean, ownership's not getting rid of him right now. So, it's more likely they're at least going to try to win it another year or 2 with him. Yeah. Now, if he winds up leaving Philadelphia, it's going to be maybe a year or 2 from now because he wants out.
Yeah. And he won't be the same player that he is. He'll be on the downward of his career and shit.
Let's be real. I know it hurts. I know it hurts to get taken out of the second round, but would you rather be a play-in team? Or would you at least have a chance to make it to the finals with Embiid. You trade Embiid, you're never going to get that value back. You might be another 10, 12 years before you're good again.
It's going to set you back. You got to have a beautiful ass trade to
but in the NBA,
make it work.
Sometimes in the NBA, you can get set back 10 years.
Yeah.
You can miss on picks for 4 or 5 years. You can literally set your organization back by 10 years because superstar players like Joel Embiid don't come around like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's about 12, 13 players in the league that are superstars that can like take you all the way with like a nice supporting cast. There's not many stars like that. So it's like, do we give that away because we're so mad about the last 4 years? Or do we at least giving ourselves a chance?
You just, like you said, roll with it. You have to.
Roll with it. If it fails, it fails. But like I said, you trade them and you can fail for the next 10 years.
It's not like the 90s. It's not like the 90s back in the day, like you're saying, trade-wise. You can get a shitload of players, you know, and then you're actually building and setting that team. And if you don't like it, you can trade more players or picks.
Right.
Like you said, now it's like it's almost like playing chess, and you better win because if you don't, you're going to get burnt.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, hey, I mean, look at the Charles Barkley trade. I mean, they traded Charles Barkley in 1992. Mm-hmm. They get Andrew Lang, Tim Perry, and Jeff Hornacek. Now, Jeff Hornacek was a nice player. Jeff Hornacek actually was a really nice player. And he was really good with the Jazz, like, you know, a few years later or whatever. Yeah. But the bottom line is, though, is like that, you know, that set the Sixers back a number of years. I mean, the Sixers didn't make the playoffs from like 91 all the way to the 98-99 season with AI was the next time they made the playoffs. And you want to talk about misses. I mean, they had Sean Bradley they picked. Sucked. You know what I mean? Yep. Sharon, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. He sucked. You know what I mean? I remember being in Sneaker Stadium back in the. Remember Sneaker Stadium back in the day, Sean, right on Welsh Road?
Yes.
I do. So I was in that joint with Johnny Teets, man, and we were buying sneakers and playing basketball, and we were hype as shit, bro. We're like, yo, man, we're gonna get Jerry Stackhouse. It's gonna be great. And then Stackhouse put up numbers his rookie year, and Stackhouse actually wound up having a decent career, but him and AI were just not a match. And you know, I guess the point is that the point is that if you make that gamble, you know, in the NBA, you like if you have a valuable asset, you need to hold on to that asset. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well,
so anyway,
since we're talking about, go ahead. What was your thoughts about that? Everything but the chip documentary. That was pretty good, man.
I loved it.
I liked that.
It was great.
2001 season. You know, it hit everything. You know, like the arguments with AI and Larry Brown.
Yeah.
And you know, it was good to see that AI said, "Look, I was an immature dickhead. I should have really listened more, and I would have been a better player." Like he got made. Like it was awesome to see. Larry Brown took him out because of the minutes, because he wanted to save him come later in the fourth quarter. It's game time. But AI's that athlete. He wanted to be on the court 24/7, you know. But, yeah, it was a very good documentary. I mean.
AI is what every Sixers fan prayed that it would be. You know what I mean? Like that mentality. Where, like, like in that documentary, they were all beat up. You know, he was still dropping 40 after the game, full body, iced up, you know, could barely walk. Eric Snow, broken ankle. McKee banged up. Yep. Everyone was just hurt. Everyone was giving it all they got.
And he wasn't.
You know, that team we just watched against Boston looked like the complete opposite. Like, they gave it all they got in the fourth quarter of Game 6. They gave it all they got in Game 7. It was a joke. You know, that team in 01 would never do it like that.
Yeah, that 01 team, I mean.
And how about having 4 guys hit the year?
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing about that 01 team was the fact now I don't think they. I mean, Shaq and Kobe Lakers were so stacked. I don't think they would have won the series even if they were healthy. But I do think if that team was healthy, they would have won at least one more game. It would have gone at least 6. You know what I mean? Like you had George Lynch out, you had Eric Snow on a broken foot, you had AI was all beat up. I mean, if they were a little healthy, they would have found a way to win at least 1 or 2 of those more of those games. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Miko Spencer with a comment here, and then I want to move, and then we'll move on to some Phillies. And he says here, I'm curious to see the Thunder 7 picks in the next 3 years in the first round. They are all in on Trust the Process 2.0, plus a healthy Holmgren coming back and a young stud Shea Alexander. Yeah, I'll tell you that Thunder team, if they don't screw up their picks like the Sixers did, they got a chance to have a real bright future.
They're lights out, man. Absolutely.
No, they already got like 5 really nice young players.
Yeah.
They got Shea, they got Dort, they got the dude they drafted last year, Williams. They got Holmgren, who didn't even play last year. And they're going to get a good pick this year, and they got 6 picks over the next 3 years. If they can keep all their players, see, that's the problem. They're going to have so many players come up to contracts where they're not going to want to go back to OKC. Like, they're going to have an opportunity to go to a bigger market and compete for a legit championship. And then same thing that happened with them when they had Harden, KD, and Westbrook. They had too many stars on the same exact timeline. And then when it came time, they all wanted out, and they were stuck with Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. I've seen an article, Spurs and Thunder make a trade for Chet Holmgren and Mabayawa, or whatever, if I'm butchering his last name wrong. You know, they swap picks and players. I'd be curious to see if that happens.
Wait a minute. You're not talking about for the number 1 pick, are you?
Yeah.
Nah, that's a bold. I was gonna say that's a bold. I'm telling you that kid from France that's coming out, bro. They say is the best prospect to ever come out in professional sports. You could offer. Yeah, you would, dude. You would have to have MJ come back and go take a time machine and come back in his prime and offer like MJ and something to get that kid, dude. That's how.
That's what they're really saying about this kid. Wow,
this kid's like this kid. This kid has a 7'9" wingspan. He can shoot the ball. He basically can, bro. He can play center, but handle the ball like a point guard. He's like,
to me, it sounds like he's a mix of what Joel Embiid.
I just was
with Steph Curry on shot.
You were breaking up. I couldn't hear. What were you saying?
Nah, he's breaking up big time.
To me, he seems like he's like a mix of Embiid and Steph Curry. Embiid on defense, Steph Curry on offense.
Pretty much. Yeah, exactly. But Miko Spencer, Wembanyama is the next chosen one. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. So
that's from the Dragon.
Yeah, well, listen. I think Rob's running a little behind. So Diego, I want to move on to something else. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do these tickets, bro?
Oh, let's do them. Let's do them.
All right, let's get
to the giveaway and give these tickets away, guys.
All right, so here we go. All right, so Diego, that's how you wanted it, right?
2.
Huh?
Yep. I'm gonna spin it right now.
All right, go ahead.
Round and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows.
All right, live on the air ticket thing. All right, go ahead, bro.
Or Vanna White. Spin that wheel, Vanna.
Michael Sherman.
Or is that Michael?
Michael Sherman from Twitter. He entered the Twitter contest. So, Michael Sherman, I will contact you after the show, and we'll get them tickets over to you, man. Congratulations.
All right. So Michael Sherman is the first Sully Squad Phillies ticket giveaway winner. All right. So Michael Sherman. Diego, Mr. 6 for 6, Diego Bianchi will be contacting you, and hopefully, because we're going to get into the Phillies next. But yeah, hopefully you see a couple Schwarbombs, because Schwarber's actually starting to heat up a little bit. It is June. Hang on, here we go right here. Hang on a second here. We got Sully Squad Sports Entertainment says, congratulations to the lucky winner, Michael Sherman on Twitter. Mike Lauro says, haha, Lee was on there. Yeah.
No, he must have been real.
That's so funny because I texted Joe as soon as Lee got into it, and I was like, John Lee's gonna win this freaking thing.
Well, you know what, the kid. I mean, the kid should win something. I mean, Christ, he single-handedly ended the curse of the Bambino.
Nobody wins a chocolate milk and a pretzel. That's all. Now let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to get into some Phillies. But before we do here, where am I here? I want to get into some Phillies, but before we do, I'm going to get into a couple of our sponsors here. So, anybody out there that wants to try some really cool coffee, check out Monkey Colt Coffee. You could use the promo code OOTBS Sports at monkeycoltcoffee.com at the checkout, while owner Matt donates 10% of each sale to the National Pediatric Foundation at nationalpcf.org. So not only do they have great coffee, but they go to they go to a good cause too. Anybody out there with any legal problems? If you're a Boston Celtics fan and you're pissed off that your team got their ass kicked in Game 7 at home, you jumped off the bandwagon, you got yourself some splinters. All right. Now he hasn't quite gone to Boston yet, but call my man Jason Fine, aka Attorney Big Al. He's got slip and fall, workers' comp, personal injury claims. You could call Jason directly, 24/7 directly at 267-962-4895, or Miko Spencer at 267-303-7324 for a free consultation. He's got 3 offices throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So make sure you check that out. And I got one more thing here. One of our other hosts, Ken Fry. It's a thing dear to his heart here. Original Janes were formed in the late summer of 2019, home base of Cressona, Pennsylvania. So not your average Janes. So if you want to donate to the baseball team, it's for a good cause. So make sure you check that out. So, all right. So let's get into some Phillies here. Oh wait, hang on. We've got one more here. Let me see this comment. Oh, Miko Spencer. Oh wow, that's my burner account. Moms, I'm heading to the Braves game. Oh, Miko Spencer, he won that, John. All right, bet.
He made like 7. He probably made all the accounts that went on Twitter. Just kept entering the contest with fake accounts.
Okay. All right, so let's get into some Phillies here.
They finally won a couple.
Friday night, they were terrible. Zach Wheeler came up small, got rocked. Castellanos is hitting the ball well, so he kept him in the game. But a little encouraging the last 2 nights, at least they won 2 or 3. And now you have 3 with the Tigers. So anyway, Sean, what's your thoughts on the Phillies? Do you think they're starting to heat up a little bit? Is that possible?
It's possible. I mean, it's June, and things heat up with Schwarber, and hopefully the rest of the guys, man. I'm just thinking positive. Where you got guys that are throwing them under the bus, they're not going to do this and that. I think it's still not early, but we got a lot of baseball, and I think we'll see some good things, And there's an article, do you stay with your 4 starters instead of 5? If anything, I would stay with the 4 starters and kind of work Stram in there a little bit, you know what I mean? But all in all, Cody Clemens is playing pretty solid first base, And you just need the whole core of the group. Turner reminds me somewhat of when Nick Castellanos was here his first year. He's in that funk. You expect him because he got paid to do this and do that. But I'm a firm believer it's going to come in probably spurts and surprise us. It's early, like I said, but I think Turner will be all right. even though he is having a somewhat of a slump. But Castellanos, like you said, is doing awesome. Brad Marsh, But how about this kid, Derek Ellis, man, being called up and
2 homers?
Yeah. Well, 3. Yeah, but 2 homers yesterday with Schwarber. But, yeah, it's something. I mean, it would have been nice. I mean, everybody can agree if we swept the Nationals. But tonight we got the Tigers. Verling's not going to be playing. He's on the 10-day DL, but it's going to be something. Let's sweep them. What are your thoughts, Diego?
We were talking about the same exact thing last year at this part of the season. We're like, are we nervous? Are we nervous? And I kept saying, it's not even hitting season yet. Once them hot days come, this lineup is built to hit in hot weather. They hit a lot of home runs. You know what I mean? So wait till hitting season comes. We're going to be fine. June started. Schwarber hit a couple. So he's about to get rolling. Don't worry about Trey Turner. He's a career 300 hitter. He's adjusting a little bit to being in Philadelphia. It's not easy. Nick Castellanos had the same exact problem, but Trey's coming. And when he comes, we'll be like, wow, Trey Turner's a beast, because you don't just forget how to play baseball. Have all them seasons batting 300, come to Philly, I don't know how to play anymore. Think about when you got to move to a whole other state. You got to get your kids adjusted. You got to get your wife adjusted. You got to get adjusted. Where am I getting my coffee in the morning? Like, there's like so much crap that goes along to it when it changing teams like that. So I'm not worried about the Phillies. They're about to start tearing it up right now.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. To all the haters, you ready?
Well, speaking of the Phillies, we got our special guest Rob Maaddi ready to hop on. And hang on a second here. Hey Rob, how you doing?
What's up, fellas? Can you hear me? I'm having a horrific. I got an awful connection. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can now.
Yeah.
How are you?
He's lagging.
Oh, hang on a second.
Yeah, I think he's in a bad area.
Yeah. Maybe. All right, we'll try it here. Hang on. We'll try again in a minute. Hey, that's one. Modern technology is great, but sometimes you might just be in a bad area,
Hey, when you're Rob Maaddi, you're busy and you're around. You're in some bad areas sometimes.
It's all good. It's all good. But maybe we'll try again in a minute. But man, like you said, I mean, the one thing about baseball is track record. You know what I mean? It's like Trey Turner. I mean, yes, he's off to a tough start. And it is, but I mean, I firmly believe when the weather heats up, I'd be shocked. I would be shocked if he didn't at least get his average up to like 270 at worst. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah. I agree 1,000%. Like,
at this time in 2022, we're a wild card. Nobody thought about that. 2019, the Nationals, they're saying they ain't going to go to the World Series. They end up winning. Braves as well, I mean, just like Diego touched on, it's hitting season and it's anybody's game. We got a talented roster, and once everybody starts hitting, I mean, the deal.
You just said exactly. We got a talented roster that's a hitting roster. It's not easy to hit early in baseball season. We all know. Once these hot weather days come in July, August, September, that's when big hitters get hot and they start streaking over on the East Coast. So I'm not worried about them yet. Don't get me wrong. They keep playing with this for like 20 games. I might be a little bit worried.
What are your thoughts on the pitching? That's kind of iffy.
Hey, Sean,
that scares me.
Hang on 1 second. We're going to try again, okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, Rob, how you doing, man? You're on with Joe, Diego, and Sean. How are you?
Can you guys hear me? I'm sorry. My connection is horrific right now.
No, I can't.
No, we hear you now.
No worries.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I hear you talking about Trey Turner. I love that conversation.
What do you think about Trey Turner?
He's going to do with the back of his baseball card. I think Charlie Manuel used to use that cliche all the time. The back of the baseball card don't lie. At some point, Trey Turner is going to be what we thought Trey Turner's going to do. And it's so he's off to a slow start. right? He's off to a slow start. That's fine. Guys, it happens, man. It's baseball. It's a long season. It's 162 games. This guy's a proven winner, a proven veteran. At some point, he's going to be what we all thought he was. It was a terrific signing. I loved it at the time. I still love it. I'm okay with the direction. You know, he's got to get better, and he will. I'm sure he will at some point.
For sure, for sure.
Hey, just like you put it, I mean, it's like the back of the baseball card. I mean, I've been watching baseball since '86, and I grew up as a little boy. I was a huge Mike Schmidt fan. I'm actually got a Schmidt jersey on now. And, I remember, I read the book you wrote about Schmidt, and, it was pretty interesting. Like what drove you to write that?
Man, that was the first book I wrote, guys. And like, I grew up a big baseball fan. I grew up a Schmitty fan. I was a fan too, guys, of like the players who were bench role players, like on the field. I don't know if you go back to '83 at all, or Len Matuzik, John Russell, and the '86 teams were like, I like those. Bobby Dernier. Juan Samuel was too good to be considered in that role, but I liked Juan. So I like those guys. But of course, Schmitty was who he is, a Hall of Famer. I'll never forget the day he retired. I cried, and I never thought that I'd be in a position or have that opportunity where I would be able to write a book about him and then get to know him, really, get to know him, exchange text messages with him, be friendly with him, show up to spring training and have long conversations with the guy. So it was really cool. When I launched Faith on the Field show, guys, in April 2017, Mike Schmidt was my very first guest. And he said, I don't think there's another show that is more important. Like, I didn't even know Mike was that kind of, like, I didn't know how much faith played a role in his life, right? And he told me back when he was playing, like in the 70s and the 80s, guys who were strong men of faith were looked upon like they were sissies. They were like they weren't strong men. So a lot of guys kept quiet about it. Now, of course, everybody talks openly about whatever they want to talk about, and faith is certainly a big, important part of a lot of players' lives. So it's totally changed. It's different, but it was really cool to get that perspective from Michael Jack. So I just love that opportunity. He actually writes guest columns, or he did for a long time, for the AP. So, like, he's a really thoughtful, introspective guy. We've always known that, but he can write too. And he'll probably do a handful of columns for the AP occasionally on hot baseball topics, whether it's, the steroid issue at some point, Hall of Fame stuff, maybe the shift, and things like, I'm sure I didn't even see it, but because I'm doing NFL now, I'm sure he probably got into it on the pitch clock and things like that too at some point earlier this year.
How's that? How do you like writing about the NFL? Do you like it more than writing about baseball? What's your favorite sport to write about?
Baseball was my first love, and I played baseball all the way through college. Still play ball. I played football as much as I can. I love, like, football. To me, it's such an event. It is to everybody, right? Because there's only 17 games a year, so it's an event. It's great for me and my lifestyle because I don't have to travel as much. I get to be home with my family and with my kids. And football is king. It's the number one sport. If you're going to cover one sport, you want it to be football. But I'll be honest, it's been now a year and a half. My last Phillies game was in July 4th. It was the July 4th game, 2021. It was the last game I covered. And I miss baseball at times. I just miss the pace of it, the slowness. Like, I hated the whole pitch clock thing because now I'm not covering it. I don't care if I'm sitting there for 3, 4, 5 hours. I love to have it on in the background. Right. It's always on. And my wife don't let me have the main TV baseball. Like, it's got to be on my device. It's either a computer or it's either my cell phone, whatever it is. But I like to have it on all night long. And I got the package so I could flip from Phillies to Trout to Angels to Shohei to, like, some of the other games, The only games I don't get, being in now I live in a Tampa area, I can't get the home team here because I got the package. I don't get the Rays, who are the best team in baseball, but that's cool. That's okay. I still vote for the Hall of Fame, so I maintain my credentials as a baseball writer, and I'll keep voting for the Hall of Fame till they kick me out. But I do miss baseball a little bit. I still follow all the sports, especially get into the NBA and the playoffs. Can't believe what happened with the Sixers. Actually, I could believe what happened with the Sixers.
Yeah.
I could foresee that. I said that a few years ago when I was on the air at the Fanatic, that I just didn't see them winning anything with Joel Embiid, and unfortunately, it looks like that's the. And as great as he was in the regular season, it's unfortunate. It doesn't translate. But I'll be honest. Now that I only cover the NFL, when training camp rolls around, you guys remember when you were in school and that feeling like summer's over and now you're going back to school? Like, it's a job. I love football. I love Sundays. I love Mondays. I love Thursday nights. But I feel like as training camp starts to roll around, man, summer's over. And it's time to football's a 24/7, 365-day job. But that grind of, man, it's a grind covering it in the NFL the whole season once you get into training camp till the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, the NFL is a total grind. I mean, look at the report that just came out last week with the supposed rumor that the Eagles had a trade worked out for Russell Wilson, and here he backed out of it. I mean, you stop and think. I mean, everybody's given Howie Roseman, roses and praise and stuff. And boy, if it's one of the great what ifs in sports. I mean, if everything goes down, what are we looking at right now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Russell did a favor for everybody in Philly.
Yes, he did.
He didn't want to play here. I knew he didn't want to play here. He wanted to play and I don't think he's as bad as he was last year. And we may be having a different conversation next year. Like, Sean Payton may get the old Russell Wilson back. He's still too young and too good to be washed up. He could be an MVP candidate. He could be whatever, but no regrets. When you look at it from the Eagles' perspective, Jalen Hurts got you to the Super Bowl. I know he had the one big fumble, but the defense let them down in that game. Or they'd be Super Bowl champions right now. And I don't see Jalen Hurts taking a step backward. I think Jalen Hurts is still a player on the rise. I think he's still got a ceiling that he can reach. He's getting better. So no matter what Russell Wilson ends up doing with Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos, I think the Eagles are in great shape. It's awesome that they were able to get to where they did last year with Jalen still playing on that rookie contract. Things are going to be different now, obviously. He's getting paid big time bucks, highest paid player until Lamar got that contract. But I think he'll perform and he'll live up to it.
Yeah, I agree. Sean, you had a question, didn't you?
About your book, Birds of Prey. What stuck out the most to you in that book, writing it during their Super Bowl season?
Yeah, Sean, that was a very special team, man. That 2017 Eagles squad. I've covered football for 20 plus years, but I also covered all the other sports, right? So I've been around a lot of clubhouses, a lot of locker rooms, been around a lot of teams and a lot of guys. And I've changed and I've grown. And I used to be the guy who would party with the players. Now I'm praying with the players. So I've been full circle in my personal journey and in my life. Okay. I never saw a team as closer than that 2017 group. Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz, Trey Burton, Chris Maragos, Jordan Hicks. Those guys were like a real brotherhood. And being able to put that first, them winning the Super Bowl, the first in Philly sports history, right? And being able to put that together in a book and saving that forever was a pretty special thing. And I know a lot of those guys are gone now and they moved on, and some had different levels of success, but that team will always be the first Super Bowl champion in Philadelphia sports history. There was a different vibe, a different kind of camaraderie, something that's really unique. And I wish other teams could kind of embody that spirit and see what it's like to be together in prayer and in church and watching each other's back all the time, on and off the field, and helping guys grow to be better men, better fathers, better husbands. Because when football's over, that's what you have, right?
Right.
And that's what those guys do. Yes. Despite everything else off the field, despite everything that people may say about some of those guys, they've always tried to be better men, better fathers, better husbands. And I think that's a very important thing for everybody, whether you're an athlete or no matter what you're doing in life.
Yeah, to touch on what you just said, I mean, you look at that 2017 season and look at all the injuries they had. I mean, Carson Wentz, Jason Peters, Jordan Hicks, and it sounds like what you're saying is like, a lot of that team, that whole next man up mentality and the togetherness, a lot of that had to do with probably faith. When you really
no doubt. No doubt, man. No doubt, Joe. And what happened was when Carson went down, like they endured, like Maragos goes down. Even the kicker, Caleb Sturgis, went down early in the season, right?
Yeah.
They lose the special teams captain, Jordan Hicks, the defensive captain. They lose Sproles. They lose Jason Peters. Then they lose Carson, and they get to a point where they're like, now what? Now what? We've overcome this, we've overcome that. And then there's Nick Foles. And when they knew that Nick Foles was the guy who kind of, before in his first go round in Philly, he had passed, they've always had somebody who leads that Bible study, right? And it was passed on to Nick Foles. It was like Jason Avant. And from Jason, it was before him, like Dawkins and Troy Vincent and those guys. And it kept being handed over to the next guy. And it was Nick Foles. And when Nick left, Trey Burton and Chris Maragos took over. And now those guys are getting together and they're like, but look, Nick's back. He's here. He's one, and we can do this. And everybody out there had their doubts. I know I did. I thought they were still good enough to go to the Super Bowl based on being the number one seed. I didn't think they were going to beat Belichick and Brady. Like, what a monumental, we all look back on that 5 years later now, 15 years later, 20 years, whenever it is, we're always going to look back and go, Doug Peterson and Nick Foles beat Brady and Belichick, the greatest duo in the history of the NFL. That is the ultimate in Philly victory and achievement and accomplishment.
I know it's funny. I remember watching that Jaguars Pats play, like, because they were on before us.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember rooting for the Jaguars. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the better story would be played Brady and Belichick, but I was like, you know what? I mean, hey, I think Jaguars got a good defense, but we could beat them. And then the Pats came back but I don't know what it was, though, even though it was Brady and Belichick. Like, I just had this feeling. And you know how Philadelphia fans are usually fatalists? Like, we're usually fatalists. Like, we're usually like, oh, man, we're not going to win. But there was something about that team that, like, in my head, I didn't know how they were going to do it. But I was like, I just have a feeling we're going to win this game. I don't know how, but we're just going to do it. And thank God they did.
And the way they did it, like 41-33, to be able to make that happen. Brady has historic numbers, and they still beat him. I thought it was the most entertaining Super. Like only one punt, back and forth, breaks the record for most yards. They could talk about any Super Bowl ever. And I know it's Philly bias because I grew up in Philly with an Eagles fan and being a season ticket holder. But to me, that's the greatest Super Bowl. It really is from an entertainment value. Brady coming back against and the Patriots against the Falcons down 28-3 is the greatest comeback. But to me, that one was the greatest game. Yeah,
you're exactly right. I mean, you look at the 28-3 game. Yeah, like you said, it was a great comeback, but that game stunk for three quarters. The one the Eagles won, that was there was literally no breaks at all. It was unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one like where you can go back and watch it over and over again. And I think, right, so many things will stand out. Like the Nick Foles to Zach Ertz 4th and 1 pass for like 1.5 yards that kept that drive going. Like what a big play on their side of the field. Like there are other coaches who would have punted there, not Dougie P. Like I don't know. Now that I'm a little bit removed from Philly, I don't know what what the talk is, what the thought is about Doug Peterson. Like, I love that guy. I like the man he is, the person that he is, and for him to be able to do what he did, so aggressive. Like that Super Bowl, he went up and he was not intimidated or he didn't back down from Bill Belichick. The very next year, guys, if you remember, Sean McVay brings like the Rams up against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. If you hear there's a mic'd up version, like before that game, Sean McVay walks up to Bill Belichick, and they're talking, and Sean was like kind of kneeling at the altar of Belichick.
Yeah.
They had lost that game before it even started.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that wasn't Doug. Doug was like, I'm going to punch this guy right in the mouth, and we're going to go out there and beat him. I'm not intimidated. I'm not scared. And
Yep.
I think that permeated throughout that locker room, and that attitude, that aggressiveness, and that mentality.
Hey, speaking of possibly, next year's team, I got a buddy that's a Cowboys fan that has a question for you. Miko Spencer wants to know, how much of a gap is there between the Eagles and the Cowboys, in your opinion?
I think it's close, guys. I think it's really close. I picked the Cowboys. So listen, I had to do the day after the draft, we had to put together a way too early mock draft for next year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't pick the players. My college football, our AP college football writer, he put the players. I gave him like the order of finish, and I picked Bengals Cowboys in the Super Bowl. So I think that's how close I think the Eagles and the Cowboys are. It's so hard to lose a Super Bowl and get back. The last team to do it was those Patriots we just talked about, losing the Eagles in 17 and winning in 18. There's a lot of Super Bowl hangover. There's a lot of, adjusting. The Eagles lose their offensive coordinator, their defensive coordinator. They lose a bunch of guys on the defense that were role players, that were key players. So and we haven't seen a repeat winner in the NFC East since the Eagles in 01, 02, 03, and 04. I see both teams being like neck and neck all season long. Eagles got the toughest schedule in football. And I think the Cowboys right now, again, still way too early. What are we, June 3rd, 4th, 5th? I don't even know. Mm-hmm. I take the Cowboys to win the NFC East, and they're my front runner in the NFC, which I know a lot of Eagles fans are going to hate me for saying that.
I was going to say, that really hurts.
You put salt on the wound, Rob.
I'm sorry. Don't let me end on that, because I meant to tell you too. This for Eagles fans who love B-Doc, this Saturday I'm going to be with Brian Dawkins at an event at Valley Forge Baptist Church. So we're both flying up. He lives in Orlando. I live right outside Tampa. We're coming from Florida, flying into Philly, and on Saturday we're going to be at an awesome event at Valley Forge Baptist. I think it's valleyforgebaptist.org/Dawkins. Last week there were still very limited tickets if you want to go. If you never heard Dawkins speak, my man is so passionate, such a powerful message that he shares. I'd love to see it sold out. I think we're getting close. The VIP was sold out, so that'll be this Saturday. Up at Valley Forge Baptist. It's at doors open, I believe, at 5 p.m. But they can check it out online or on any of my social media. I posted about it. Doc posted about it too.
Hey, well, great. Well, listen, Rob, I thank you so much for hopping on with us. Thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate you sticking with us with the technical problems and everything. And it was nice talking to you. Thank you very much.
No problem, fellas. And I owe you guys. So next time I'll be sitting at home in front of the computer. I'll make sure I get it all right, so I don't mess it up with all the phone and the technology and all that nonsense.
As long as we get you on, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
you got it, brother.
Good.
Appreciate
Take
you,
care.
boys. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a great one.
Thanks a lot.
Too.
See ya. Bye-bye.
God bless y'all.
See ya. Bye-bye. That was fun.
That was awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Good conversation.
Yeah.
Sam, see? So just like you started, we got nothing to worry about with Trey Turner, baby.
Single, baby. I told you. For all the haters out there, and who you are.
This totally up to him, but I got Miko Spencer in the background, a huge Dallas fan. If he wants to hop on with us for a second, because I know, listen, don't
bring that guy on. Don't bring that guy on. I'm just kidding.
We'll go in the
Go ahead. Bring the Cowboy fan on. I was telling him earlier, I'm like, you got to get that cowboy crap out of the back of your screen, Now Rob Maaddi just hyped him up. Talk about I got Cowboys winning the division. Damn.
In all fairness, though, wait a minute. My man hasn't seen a Super Bowl, in like what 28
He got the VHS tape. He got the VHS tape on the shelf.
Yes, I know. It's okay.
Well, if he wants to hop on, he can hop on if he wants.
Yo, if you ever want to borrow a DVD of a Super Bowl, I got you. I got the Eagles DVD, so at least you can pop it into the thing. You know what I'm saying?
I got a VHS.
There he is. What's up, Paul?
Yo, I got a VHS tape. We can convert it into a DVD.
Yeah, I think my girl's mom got one in the basement. Actually, I'll get it for you. Let you borrow it.
I'll be right back.
First, I want to say,
who's a Cowboys fan, to get the 3 VHS tapes. I'll be right back.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for you guys caring about my VHS tapes. First, I want to say thank you very much. Okay,
You're welcome.
I'm different. I'm a smart guy. I've already transferred mine to DVD, so I'm in good shape in like 30 years. Okay, bro?
Wow, you're with.
You transferred them, and you improved the color quality on them, Johns. You know what I'm saying? They're so old.
You had to buff them. You had to put the volume.
Yeah, them Johns were like one. We're at like a 4K. He was like 180p. 180p. Cowboy Super Bowls.
It was like going back to AOL dial-up days. Was what I was watching, bro. That's what it was like. You know what I mean?
No, I'm just. How'd that sound? That sound like an NFL expert there saying Cowboys are the best team in the division.
It's funny. I'm surprised Joe didn't piss himself because I'm in the background like screaming like, "That's my man, Rob. That's my man, Rob."
No, it's good though to get different views, like we said. Different strokes for different folks.
I mean, if we're being real, the Cowboys are right on our tail. 13 games, 14 games in the last season. Mm-hmm. We were still we lose these last 3 games, the Cowboys win out, they win the division. We got to play in the wild card game. So even though we won the Super Bowl and we looked like we were the best team in the NFC, which we were, if the Cowboys were right there, if we lose one game, Cowboys win one game, and they're hosting all them games, we might have had a different outcome last year.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. Like on last week's show, Dave Arnell, we're talking about on the 215 boys, and I was saying it's neck and neck right now. Yes, you guys got some solid pieces. DeAndre Swift, solid pickup for you guys. Solid. If he can stay healthy, huge boost.
Absolutely.
The draft as well. We all know that about the draft. But my thing, I was telling Dave, I was like, we have the easier schedule. You guys have a gauntlet schedule, number one, okay, which helps us out big time. But the one thing that concerns me is Thanksgiving Day week. 3 games, 14 days for the Cowboys. If they can win 2 out of those 3, we're in solid shape for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but Eagles have a stretch like that too, where they play like 3 games in like 11 days or 12 days.
It's crazy.
Yeah, 4 days, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me ask you something, Paul. Do you think you have to address running back, even though you have Pollard coming back from a leg injury? And who do you guys see you getting? A Henry, a Dalvin Cook, which has been brought up, or you're going to see a couple flyers get surprise cuts, but those 2 guys, would you focus on?
I think you have to. I mean, I think you have to, Sean. Pollard coming off that horrific injury. I think you have to go out there. I mean, I wanted Jamar Gibbs, or of course, I wanted Bashawn Robinson. Of course, that's what I wanted. In the college football, we talk about that all the time.
Yes,
but
we do.
You have to go out and get a big back. I mean, Pollard coming off that injury. People don't understand how that kid jump cuts. His jump cuts were speed.
Yeah,
that's his game right there. That takes away a lot. Going back 2 years, look at Gallup coming off that injury. A high-flying wide receiver, got paid, and not even 8 games in, he still couldn't even run at full potential. That's what scares me about Pollard.
That injury sets you back, man, breaking your fibula. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah, it set us back. I mean, if Dalvin Cook's available, I'd love to see a flyer on, but the price tag is going to be huge. We all know that. And Zeke, I don't want him back. I think he's going to find a job when OTA starts.
I see him going too.
I do too. And
honestly, I think Dallas reverts back to bringing something like that back. Zeke,
I think he's worn his welcome out. I see him for some reason in my eyes, Tampa Bay.
He'll be so affordable though. Like I don't feel like there's gonna be much of a market for Zeke, so they'll be able to get to him back at what they want to get him back at. That's why I see Dallas just go, all right, let's hope Pollard doesn't take that much of a step back because that's our guy. And we all see if Pollard is healthy, in my opinion, he's like Christian McCaffrey, like he breaks like huge plays like over and over again, 40, 50-yard runs. So that's their guy. Their backup will be a very cheap Zeke, and then you ride it out with Zeke being your guy. If Pollard's not 100%, but you're banking on Pollard being 100%, and you're going to pay him, right? They pay him?
They franchised them this year.
All right, they franchise. So you're paying him good money. So you're banking on Pollard to be that guy this year, even off injury.
Exactly.
With a cheap backup.
Yeah, that's why I mean you have to get a backup out there. We know in the NFL it's a two-headed dragon for every team. That's why I love last year. Tony Pollard's thing was you call it, he hauls it. He was the 20-yard line to the 20-yard line guy. Run the ball, the workhorse, constant, 3 quarters. What made me mad is I'm a huge Cowboy fan. You guys know that. But what pissed me off, everybody looked at Zeke saying Zeke is the man. Zeke ran from the 20 in the end zone, the red zone. That's all he ever did. He was nothing like Zeke before. He wasn't worth $14 million. And Diego, I agree with you. If he comes back, he's going to come back on a price tag $5 to $6 million, and that's okay as a backup. I'm cool with that. He's still got some tread on the tires. I'm cool with that, but not big time.
You think he even gets that much? I mean,
no, I think it's more like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think he. Yeah, exactly. I think he gets like. Yeah. I don't think he gets less than 2 to 3 just for a respect factor, because you don't want to feel like you're spitting in the guy's face. You know what I mean? But like, if Zeke Elliott wasn't an all-time great Cowboy, they probably only offer him like a vet minimum.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams look at Zeke like they paid you a lot of money, they gave you that big contract, and they ran you into the ground. They gave you so many carries, and I feel like Zeke's not Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has so when he runs, he still looks like he has a lot of miles left on them legs. Zeke looks like he has a $2 million contract left on them legs. You know what I mean?
The funny thing is, Diego, the funny thing is on my show, I took a lot of criticism for this. I called Zeke Elliott the poor man's Le'Veon Bell. We know Le'Veon Bell sits in the backfield and dances and waits for the hole. Zeke, his first 3 years, he was like a Marion Barber going back to Cowboy days. He looked for contact.
Yeah.
He didn't want to avoid you. He ran right through you. It's 4th and 1. He'll run 20 yards east just to hit somebody before he gets the first down. Now he waits in the backfield like, where's the hole? Where's the hole? Pollard, he hits the hole with lightning, man. And
he does.
And I think Zeke's going to get a job, but I think he's going to wait till OTAs. Someone's going to get hurt, and they're going to demand a running back, a true running back. I think that's where he gets picked up.
Do you see you guys getting Kareem Hunt? Because I'm looking at something right now. Kareem Hunt to you.
Listen, I think anything is an upgrade right now, honestly. I mean, you look at our running back situation. Ronald Jones is our second running back. That's pretty bad to me. I mean, yes, he can run the ball, but in this league, you need 2 talented running backs. And Kareem Hunt, give me anybody like that. Give me a Derrick Henry. Give me a Dalvin Cook. I'll take it.
Did Leonard Fournette sign with anyone, guys? I'm looking at that too.
He's still available.
There you go.
What's
funny? You got guys like that. I mean,
I could see him. Actually,
I could see him going to Downs.
Yeah, he would be a fit because he's different than Pollard, because Pollard's kind of like the speed jump cut type guy. Fournette
he's
could
your
be
power
like
a
nice power, like 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and the one. I mean, the Eagles. The Eagles should be strong. One of my concerns about the Eagles is the Eagles should be very strong up front. So hopefully Jalen Carter plays well. Hopefully Jordan Davis is in shape and they're good against the run. But my concern about the Eagles is they're really light. They're really light in the ass in the linebacker position. I mean, Morrow is not big. Nakobe Dean is not big. And it's a concern of mine and Dallas has a good offensive line. Now, the Eagles have a good defensive line, but if Dallas blocks up the Eagles' defensive line and you got one of them backs going up against those linebackers, that's a major concern of mine going against them.
And the funny thing – go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Here's the thing with that, to bring up Joey's point about linebacker real quick. I like a guy like Miles Jack or Patrick Queen, but then also we have a guy on our roster, Christian Ellis, who flashed a lot of good plays, and he's
is Bradley going to get a look this year?
Nah, I think he's your special teams ace, but you never know. You're right, Diego. You never know.
I think he gets a look this year because I don't think we're going to have any money to invest in linebacker. What we're going to bring in? We're going to bring in a guy that gets cut. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be able to. Yeah, a surprise cut, something like that. We're really thin in the ass at linebacker, and we're one safety injury away to be relying on a 3rd round rookie.
Yeah.
Well,
I see them doing something for Buda Baker. Something's brewing with Howie, but I might be right. I might be wrong. Who knows?
We need something. That safety and let Reed Blankenship looked good last year. You know what I mean? And sometimes some players look good for a year, but he's an undrafted free. He was an undrafted player. So if he does end up coming back down to earth like everyone else in the league thought he was going to be, we got one safety, and that's Terrell Edmonds, and he's average at best.
Mm-hmm.
He's solid. He's not like a.
That's what I mean. He's like average. He's solid. Yeah, but he's not good. He's not making big plays.
Right. He's not a playmaker. So
and if you remember last year, this defense really thrived off them Garner, Charles Johnson, or them CJ. Like he make a big pick in a big spot. He like, are we going to have that on this defense this year? Do we have that impact player? Do we have that guy that made so many differences last year? Because we've seen the step back that defense took when he got hurt.
Diego, let me ask you that because that's a great thing. I wanted to ask you guys' opinion. CJ Gardner last year, he was like a lifeline on that defense. Just like when he made a play, it was the other 10 on defense rallied to him. Like, we're building off your momentum here. Who's going to be that guy this year? Who will it be?
I don't know. Who do we look at? Darius Slay?
I don't know.
It's got to be, hey, your name's Big Play Slay. You better get – he was a beast the first half of last year. He really slowed down the second half of last year.
True.
I would hope it would be like a Nakobe Dean because of his football smarts, but we'll see in OTAs preseason. But something about Reed Blankenship and this kid, Sidney Brown, man. I mean, I'm hoping they prove a lot of people wrong. I just love the way they play, man.
I'm not saying they're not good, but I just feel like you always got to keep in mind Blankenship with the second year. He was undrafted last year. Did he just have a good year because it was a good defense, or is he actually going to be able to plug in and be an impact and make a defense good? You know what I'm saying? Not play safety on an already good defense. Play safety and make an impact on the defense.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna mention one name to you guys. I'm gonna name one name to you guys. Branch.
Okay.
Brian Branch. Did you guys get him this year?
The Cowboy for the safety for Bama?
Yes.
No, we didn't get him.
Who got him this year?
We got Eli Ricks. Eli Ricks.
Eli Ricks. I'm sorry.
Eli Ricks undrafted.
But he's undrafted too.
I think he's an undersung player. I really do. I love watching him play. I think.
Didn't we grab a safety from the Saints? Hold on. Didn't we grab a safety for the Saints?
Thomas. No.
Evans. We signed a kid named Evans who played. Who showed some potential a few years ago, but then he had some injury history. But he played a lot last year, and he did show a little bit of potential. So what? It'll be a wait and see.
Greedy Williams.
All right.
Browns. We got a lot of
Greedy. Now, if Greedy can play, if Greedy can play nickel, do you consider moving Avonte Maddox to safety?
They may because you know what?
Too damn small.
Maddox played okay. Maddox played okay.
Yeah, Maddox can play the safety spot.
Nah, I wouldn't. That's me. But
I mean, I'm not saying that's his better position, but I mean, Jalen Mills went from corner to safety. He's not that big. Avonte Maddox, he's going to be a great cover safety.
I mean, but there's a lot of everybody's forgetting about Josh Joby. I mean, all these guys need to get, like you said, their reps in some time. You got Joby, you got Eli Ricks, you got you got
They need some in-time game time is what they need. I mean, you go 7-on-7. That doesn't mean crap. You need actual game time. Live game time, exactly.
Not the 7, like you said, practice where you're pity pattering. I don't want to hit Diego and Joe. Go live. Hit them.
Hey, a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys out there that look like Tarzan in shorts, and they play like Jane when the pads come on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean that's a running saying. But hey, listen, we could talk football forever. Before we get out of here, I just want to get Paul. I'll get you on here too. So, Miami Heat with a big win last night, and I'll take a little credit. I did call that. Thank God. I took the Heat
last night. Yes.
But that's all right. Hey, I was right for once, right? But anyway, yes. But what's your guys' thoughts on the five? I still like Denver in 5-5, possibly 6. I still like Denver to win the series, but Miami with a big win. Let's just go around the horn and get a couple finals predictions before we get out of here. Paul, what's your finals prediction?
I have Denver in 6 here. I think it's possibly 6 or 7. I like 6, possibly 7. I think Hero comes back. You know, he's going to come back in 2 games. I think that's going to be a spark as well. Something that's going to be off the bench, giving you 15 to 20 points. But, man, I tell you, Miami has proven something to me, man, that they're a team that plays together. They're not just one man. Jimmy Butler can have a bad game. Bam is distributing the ball, not scoring, but distributing. And that bench is just insane. Caleb Martin.
Yes.
Strus is just insane. I mean, it's you pick your poison. That's one game that I can't bet on, like points wise. I don't know who's going to show up for the Miami Heat, but somehow they do. But I'm going to go with Joe. I'm going to say Denver. I'm not going to go 5. I'm going to say Denver, and I'm going to say 6.
Okay, how about you, Sean?
Miami 7.
Oof.
Wow. So
Wow.
okay.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? That's ballsy, bro. I like it. I like it. And you know what?
Go big or go home. Big balls.
I have no issue with Jimmy Buckets at all. So
Yeah.
I mean, if Jimmy Butler won, because he left, and I don't blame him. I think it was a Sixers thing, and
Yes, it was.
Brett Brown, Ben Simmons,
Bingo. Couldn't
yeah.
agree more.
So,
Agree.
okay.
That would be something serious if they went in Game 7 and won Game 7 in Mile High Stadium on the Denver Nuggets court, where they're almost unbeatable at home. Really, if you think about it, man, that'd be insane.
Anything can happen. It'd be nice, you know.
Mhm.
All right.
Hopefully, we get Diego back. Is what's his fault?
Diego said he froze, so I know he likes Denver. I think earlier today we were talking about. I think he likes Denver in 5 or 6. And that's actually what I'm going with. I'm going with Denver in 5 or 6. And hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But let's see. By the time we're back, well, you know, I mean, shoot, they play games
Wednesday.
like every 3.
Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
on.
by the time next Monday comes around, they'll probably still be playing. So who knows?
Yeah,
But all right. Well, we're gonna get ready to wrap up here. Any final thoughts? Any baseball fans out there? Make sure you check out tomorrow night. Myself and Dave Arnold will be on 8:30 tonight on this network, the Out of the Box Sports Entertainment Network. We'll be doing extra innings, so make sure you check us out tomorrow night for some good baseball coverage.
That's an awesome show.
Sean, you got any final thoughts?
Nah, man. Check out all of our sporting networks on Out of the Box. We got everything for every fan out there. 4 for 4. You know.
All right. Well, I'm just going to play a quick little video before we get out of here. But hey, guys, it's been real. Paul, thanks for hopping on. I had to get you on when I saw you. Should have. Did you see him in the back? Can you see them?
No, they can't see it.
No, okay. I can't. But I could imagine he was like a little kid in a candy store, which I get. But he had to dust those VHS tapes. But
yeah, I was dusting my VHS tapes, and I heard Rob say, "I think the Cowboys are going to win the division." I dropped my VHS tape. I might have broke it. I have no idea. But Rob made my day. I'm stoked now.
It's good to hear different opinions.
It is. It definitely is. That's why I love checking you guys out, because you guys keep it real, and it's like, what better way to listen to people talk about the Eagles that follow the Eagles 24/7, and it gives me a different vision of what I'm looking at too. So appreciate you guys having me on. I really appreciate that.
No problem, man. It's always
all right. See.